Hello, I'm going to tell the story of Urashima Tarō. But before we get to that point, I want to give some background information about the culture that it comes from. That way, it'll make more sense and you'll see why this story is so special. Urashima Tarō is a folktale from Japan, a country made up of thousands of islands surrounded by the sea. Because of this, the ocean is a huge part of that life. People have depended on the sea for food, travel, and trade for thousands of years. But beyond that, the sea is also deeply connected to the Japanese culture, religion, and their stories. In ancient Japan, people believed that the sea was home to spirits and gods. They thought there was a hidden underwater world where powerful beings lived. This underwater kingdom, ruled by a sea king, is an important part of the Urashima Taro story. This shows how the sea was seen as mysterious, both wonderful and sometimes dangerous. The ocean was not just a place to catch fish, it was a gateway to a magical world beyond human reach. Another important part of the Japanese culture is respect. Respect for nature, others, and for keeping promises. Many Japanese folktales teach these values. For example, in Urashima Tarō, the main character's kindness towards the turtle shows the value of caring for others, even small creatures. And the promise about the mysterious box teaches us about trust and consequences. These lessons were important for people living in close communities where relationships and trust mattered a lot. The story also explores the idea of time, how it can flow differently in magical places. This theme appears in many myths worldwide. For example, in some European fairy tales, time moves slower in fairy realms, and people who visit find everything changed when they return home. This connects Urashima Tarō to a universal human experience, wondering how time changes us and the world around us. In Japan, stories like this were shared orally by traveling storytellers. These storytellers played an important role, passing down history, culture, and morals through stories. People gathered to listen, learning important lessons and enjoying entertainment at the same time. Even today, Urashima Tarō is popular in Japan. It appears in books, plays, movies, and cartoons. The story continues to remind people about kindness, promises, and the mysterious beauty of nature. Understanding this cultural background helps us appreciate why Urashima Tarō is still told today. It's not just a simple fairy tale, but a story that connects us to ancient ideas about respect, the sea, and the passage of time. In the next part, I'll tell you the story itself, so you can hear how these ideas come to life through the adventures of Urashima Tarō. The story begins with Urashima Tarō. He was a kind and humble fisherman who lived in the quiet village by the sea. Every day, he cast his line into the water, bringing in just enough to feed his parents and himself. He didn't ask for much, only a simple life filled with peace. One day, while walking along the shore, Urashima saw a group of children laughing and shouting at something. As he got closer, he saw that they were poking and kicking a small turtle. He rushed forward. "Stop that," he said. "You're hurting it." The children scattered, and Urashima gently picked up the turtle. "You poor thing," he murmured, brushing sand from its shell. "Back you go." And he carried the turtle to the water, setting it gently into the sea. The next day, Urashima went out fishing as usual, but instead of catching fish, something unusual happened. A huge turtle swam up beside his boat, and to his shock it spoke. "I was the turtle you saved," it said. "I am a servant of the Sea King. He has sent me to thank you and to invite you to his underwater palace." Before Urashima could even answer, the turtle rose beneath him, lifting him off the boat and carrying him down beneath the waves. They passed schools of glowing fish and gardens of coral, descending deeper and deeper into the sea. At last, they arrived at the palace of the Sea King. It was magnificent, built from coral and crystal, with gates made of pearl and a soft glow that lit everything in the moonlight. And waiting, there was a beautiful woman in flowing robes. "I am Otohime," she said, smiling. "Daughter of the Sea King, you saved my life when you rescued me in the form of a turtle. Please, stay here with us." Urashima, amazed by the palace and charmed by the princess, agreed. And so began a life of wonder. A great wedding feast was held in his honor. A procession of sea creatures appeared, fish dressed in ceremonial robes, moving with grace and silence. They carried coral trays filled with food unlike anything found on land, gleaming shellfish, seaweed that sparkled like jewels, and fruits of the sea that shimmered with color. When the meal was over, music filled the halls. Silver-scaled fish with golden tails emerged from the waves and began to dance. Songs were sung, lanterns floated in the water, and everywhere was joy. Afterward, Otohime took Urashima by the hand and showed him around the palace. Every corridor glowed with light, pearls shimmered in the walls, coral bloomed like flowers, and the water around the palace sparkled with life. But most amazing of all was the garden. In this magical place, the four seasons coexisted at once. Looking east, Urashima saw cherry and plum trees in full bloom. Pink petals floated through the air and nightingales sang sweetly among the branches. In the south, it was summer, deep green trees and the buzz of cicadas, the warmth of the sun. In the west, red and gold maple leaves fluttered in the crisp air of autumn. The chrysanthemums stood in perfect bloom. And to the north, snow. Pure white snow covered the ground, dusted the bamboos, and froze the pond into shimmering ice. Every day in the palace brought new joys. Urashima laughed, ate, explored, and danced. Time seemed to stop. He completely forgot about the world above. 3 days passed like a dream, but suddenly, he remembered his home, his aging parents, the village, the simple life he had left behind. A wave of guilt came over him. What had become of his mother and father? How worried they must be. He turned to Otohime and said, "I've loved every moment here with you, and you've been so kind to me, but I must return. My parents will be wondering what happened to me." Otohime's smile faded. She lowered her eyes and said, "Must you leave so soon? Just one more day?" But Urashima shook his head. "I have to go, just for a short time. I'll return to you, I promise." With a sad expression, she handed him a small liquor box tied with red silk. "This is the tamatebako, the box of the jewel hand. It contains something very precious, but whatever you do not open it. Promise me." Urashima nodded. He promised. He rode once more on the back of the turtle, waving goodbye as the palace faded behind him. The sea sparkled. The sky grew lighter, and soon the shores of his homeland appeared on the horizon. But something was wrong. The bay was familiar, the hills unchanged, but the people were strangers. He hurried to the spot where his house had stood, but it was gone. In its place was a house he didn't recognize. A man came out of the house and stared at him. "Excuse me," Urashima said. "My name is Urashima Tarō. I used to live here with my parents. Do you know where they went?" The man looked confused. "Urashima Tarō? That's just an old legend. He lived here a long time ago." "What do you mean?" Urashima asked, his voice rising. "I'm Urashima Tarō. I've only been away for 3 days. The man frowned. 3 days? No, that story is hundreds of years old. They say Urashima Tarō disappeared into the sea 3 centuries ago. Urashima felt dizzy. His heart pounded. Everyone he had known, gone. His home? Vanished. The story of his life had become a myth, written in the village records. He hadn't been gone 3 days, he had been gone 300 years. He stumbled back onto the shore, clutching the box Otohime had given him. "This can't be real," he whispered. "There's nothing left for me here." He looked down at the box. "She told me never to open it," he said, "but maybe, just maybe, it holds something that can help me return to her. Something that will show me the way back." His hands trembled as he untied the red silk cord. A mist floated out. It wrapped gently around his face. For a moment it lingered and then drifted away across the sea. And in that moment, Urashima changed. His back bent, his hair turned white, his skin shriveled and wrinkled. In an instant, he was no longer a young man, but a frail old figure. He collapsed onto the beach and died. He had broken his promise, and so he could never return to the palace beneath the sea, or to Otohime, the Sea King's daughter, who waited for him beyond the waves. Now, for discussion, what do you think that the Matebako, the magic box, really represented? Or do you think Urashima made the right decision to leave the Sea King's palace? Or how about, why did you think time passed differently in the underwater world? Is there a deeper meaning to it? How does this story compare to myths or fairy tales from other cultures? Or what do you think happened to Otohime after Urashima broke his promise? Let me know.